Young men wounded, young men crying, young men bleeding and young men dying. Was their sacrifice in vain? Were their efforts worth the pain? Yeah, there's one picture on the wall there which shows the area in which I was actually stationed. That was our ablution area, washing up area, where we washed and shaved, and little area with the sacking round it was the toilet accommodation, and there was a stream alongside, and we used to have to shower. The sergeant major would make us go into the stream, and he would have a hose and hose us down. That was how we washed. This gentleman, I don't know, but he was a Korean. He assisted with the regiments. Two of those gentlemen, I don't know which, they served with the Royal Fusiliers in Korea. Two of them died in combat, and they are commemorated outside a church in London. Lee Dongjin and Lee Chul-jo. And as I say, I don't know which two, but I keep them in my little piece of Korea just as paying homage to those who lost their lives in in helping to save Korea, their own country. This is more or less my place of solitude, my little tribute to the two Koreans who died. But I come here and I can find myself at peace, and I spend many afternoons just relaxing and sleeping. Maybe that's why I'm living so long. Yeah, would you like me to talk about the poem? I'll explain first of all what happened. I was on holiday in South Wales with my daughter, and I woke in the night and there were all these words coming in, and I couldn't decipher them. So I got out of bed and I thought I must write down some words, and I couldn't find a pen or paper, so I got some toilet paper and my wife's eyebrow pencil, and I jotted down as many words as I could so that I would remember the following day. And following day I formed the poem that has been heard in many places. It has been read out by the Padre at Busan Cemetery, and it's long forgotten by their country. Men who fought on distant land, some who died in mortal combat, slaughtered by a foreign hand. Young men wounded, young men crying, young men bleeding and young men dying. Was their sacrifice in vain? Were their efforts worth the pain? Happy children, so beguiling, laughing, jumping, skipping, smiling, now live in the land of morning calm. All are safe and free from harm, thanks to every mother's son who fought for each and every one, and showing that despite that pain, their valiant efforts were not in vain. Yes, this particular one is not a campaign medal. That was presented by the Little Angels of Korea at Sadler's Wells in London. This particular one is the Ambassador for Peace medal, awarded to those veterans who have returned to Korea. This is the MBE, member of the British Empire. That is the Korea War Medal. That is the United Nations Medal. This is the medal for the invasion of Suez. This particular one is the Korean Order of Civil Merit, awarded by your President Park. This particular one was found by me somewhere north of Uijeongbu, and it is the All Korea Student Association medal, 1945, and it has the student's number there. If anyone could find out whether this person is still alive, I'd like to be able to present it to them, return it to where it came from. To be quite honest, bored for a while. I was still in the army, so I was posted to Horse Guards in London, and my job was to visit every, the Guards and any other regiment within the Greater London area in a similar capacity as I did in Korea. And we got married, and then we had our first child in 1956. And when she was 6 weeks old, I was called back into the army to go on the invasion of Suez Canal. I've done that for 23 years now, and my job is to liaise between the embassy and all the veterans in the country. They hold ceremonies at St Paul's Cathedral on the 25th of June, and on the 27th of July we hold a service at the new memorial in London. And any other events that take place, Reunification Day and so on and so on, I have to arrange for our veterans to attend. We used to have official meetings. We used to have a report on what happened during the previous meeting, and any events that had taken place we would report, and we'd report on things that happened to other branches and branch members. And we would then, in my particular branch, we used to take turns to give a report on any subject you wished. I've talked on my life, my time in Korea, and my time in the ambulance service, my time as an environmental health officer, and that used to be part of our meeting. And then you would maybe talk a little bit about your time in Korea, but nowadays it's become more of a social living in the UK. The trouble is, following the fact that we had a Second World War, many people didn't want to know anything more about war or any other aspect of it. So it was only a limited number of about 6,000 veterans joined the British Korean Veterans Association. And of course that's been dwindling. There were 54 branches throughout the country. And at the last time that we took a survey, there were about 1,000 still active. Most of the branches have closed, but they still contact each other, on a social basis. Yeah, that particular photo was taken a little while ago. I suppose it must have been about 3 years ago. Rami came over and he's photographed us individually, and he's been to London and invited and photographed many of the veterans who visited from all over the country. But that particular one, unfortunately, about 50% of the people in that photograph have died, age and infirmity, and there are still a lucky few of us. Well, we don't know, nobody knows when our time will come, but not yet, I hope. It becomes embarrassing because they do so much for us. We feel that there's no way we can repay them. I know we were helping at the time of the start of the war, but the Korean people, they're the ones who've built Korea into what it is today, and they're constantly thanking us. But we wonder. The one thing which I was very instrumental in, we knew that we were the only capital city that had not got a memorial, and I was asked as liaison officer, would you like a memorial? And I said, well, I'll go to my committee. And the chairman of the committee said no. He said, we don't want a memorial. He said, it'll take too long. He said, we can't afford it. He said, we haven't got any money. because I'm self-financing. Anything I do, I have to pay for. So anyway, I went back to, I thought, I'm not letting this stand. So I found another gentleman who said, I'll help. And so we went back to the committee, and they said, well, if you want to sort it out, if it's not going to cost us anything, he said, we'll accept a memorial. I spoke to Lady Rothermere, and she said, if you want a memorial, you can have one. We then had to find a site, so the three of us formed a committee. We went to the Royal Parks. They wouldn't let us put one in the Royal Parks. We found a site outside the Treasury and even had plans drawn up. That was turned down. And then eventually Lady Rothermere and the Korean people and the government said, we will find you a site. Have you been to our site in London, the new memorial? It's a wonderful spot on the embankment where we can parade. There's room for all us to assemble, and it's something that is a dream come true for me. We're really grateful that before we'd all passed away, that we had some recognition. We get no recognition from our own country. We've watched all these programs about the funeral recently, and we've heard about the Falklands War and so on and so on. We've never heard about the veterans who were serving in Korea when the coronation took place. We were lined up, given a bottle of beer, said, "Good health to your majesty," and then went back on the job. But you don't hear the BBC or anybody talking about the Korean War. So any publicity that we get from people like yourselves, we're most grateful for. It shows we're not forgotten. Korea, unfortunately, in this country is known as the Forgotten War. We don't get much publicity. I believe there's going to be something done next year, which will be the 70th anniversary. Maybe the world will get the publicity we feel we deserve. We don't want any praise or medals, and we just want people to know we were there, and especially on behalf of those 1,109 people who died, which is more than the Falklands, Afghanistan and Iraq put together. But at least we've now got this memorial in London, and we know the people who come from Korea on official visits, they all go there, and there's always wreaths there, so we know that in certain areas, yes, we are remembered. My final desire is that that poem is produced somewhere so that in the future people can see the sacrifice of those who died wasn't in vain. I don't know how it can be done, if maybe the words could be put in the museum in Seoul or something similar.